He threw her out of the house like a dog in front of his mistress, shouting, "Useless, barren woman, get out of my house!" The same man Gloria sacrificed everything for had now humiliated her before the world. She fell to her knees, tears streaming down her face as she pleaded. But he looked at her with disgust and slammed the door, showing no remorse. Broken, humiliated, and heartbroken, she walked down the lonely street, accepting her fate. Yet the same mistress tried to silence her forever. Desperate to save her life, Gloria stumbled into the road and was hit by a speeding car. As darkness covered her eyes, her memories replayed. Joe's betrayal, Blessing's deceit, her mother's mysterious death, and the painful truth of how she had suffered in silence just to make her husband rich. What happened next will shock you. Did Gloria lose her life, or will karma rise to fight for her? Will she get her revenge, or will fate give her a second chance to become a mother? This is not just a story of pain. It's a powerful African folktale about love, betrayal, and karma. Hello everyone, welcome to African Folktales by Fahbam, home of timeless African stories filled with moral lessons and deep wisdom. Before we continue, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. If you've ever made a decision in love that you later regretted, let us know in the comments. And tell us, where are you watching from? Are you in New York, Jamaica, South Africa, or Nigeria? Let's know where our Fahbam family is watching from around the world. The doctor was preparing to begin the egg removal when a faint cry of a newborn echoed from the next room. Gloria froze, her chest tightened, that tiny voice pierced through her soul. "When will it be my turn, Lord? When will you wipe the tears of a barren woman?" She whispered with deep pain in her heart. Tears rolled down her cheeks. All she ever wanted was to hold her own child, to be called Mama. But instead, she sacrificed everything for love, her body, her peace, her dreams, all for a man who no longer even looked at her the same way. Maybe it's time to tell Joe the truth, she thought. He's the reason we can't have a child. Maybe we can go abroad for treatment. For the first time in years, she felt a little hope. Her voice shook as she looked at the doctor. "Doctor, please. This will be my last one. I can't keep doing this. I want to be a mother." For a brief moment, guilt flashed across the doctor's face. Then he forced a smile and quietly excused himself. He walked into the next room. Inside, Blessing stood waiting, arms crossed, lips curved in a knowing smile. "She wants to stop," the doctor whispered nervously. "If she travels abroad, they'll find out everything. The harsh hormone boosters, the manipulation. We'll be in serious trouble." Blessing's expression darkened immediately. "Then make sure she never gets pregnant again. Do whatever you must. I don't care what happens. We must keep this secret," she ordered the doctor cruelly. "That could destroy her womb," the doctor said with a trembling voice. "As if I care," Blessing smirked coldly. Moments later, the procedure began. At first, everything seemed fine. Then pain hit Gloria like fire. Her stomach cramped violently. Blood rushed from her body. "Doctor, something's wrong!" the nurse screamed. "She's bleeding! Hold her down!" the doctor shouted, pretending to panic. Gloria gasped for air, tears spilling as she whispered weakly, "God, don't let me die. Please, not like this." Her world went dark. Her last thought was her mother's smile, and the child she would never hold. Meanwhile, Blessing was jumping with joy in the next room. She had finally succeeded. She picked up her phone and called Joe to the hospital with fake, trembling voice. Within an hour, Joe arrived, terrified, breathless, and confused. When the doctor told him what had happened, he felt his world collapse. "You mean Gloria will never have children again?" he asked, trembling. No, this can't be happening. She was perfectly fine this morning. What could have possibly happened?" Joe cried out in denial. "She was rushed in with complications from an infection," the doctor replied, lowering his head. Joe staggered back, his knees weakened. Tears rolled down his cheeks, not just for her pain, but for the death of the dream they once shared. In that moment, something inside him broke. Joe screamed out in pain and broke down in tears. He had wanted nothing more than to be a father. Blessing saw her moment, and she quickly took it. She moved closer, wrapping him in her arms, pretending to comfort him while hiding a wicked smile. "It's not your fault, Joe," she whispered softly. "Some women are cursed. Maybe Gloria is one of them." Each word she said to Joe was poison. Each tear she shed was a lie. She completely forgot every action has a consequence as she continued her manipulation, turning love to hate. Joe listened, broken, confused, desperate for solution. In his confusion, Blessing's plan began to work. She reminded him of the pain, the mockery, and the painful years of waiting to carry his own child in his arms. She told him how 9 years of mockery was caused by his barren wife. Slowly, she turned his pain into resentment. In that moment, 9 years of love died silently in Joe's heart. When Blessing offered to drive him home, he didn't resist. He just followed, like a man lost in darkness. She held his hand, whispering again, "You deserve happiness, Joe. I can give you that." And when his tears turned to silence, Blessing knew she had won. That same night, while Gloria lay weak in the hospital, Blessing and Joe connection deepened. She reminded him how she had helped him secure a contract and how she had always been there right from the start to support him. "You deserve more, Joe. I'll be everything you need," she promised with fake concerned expression. Broken and blinded by anger, Joe believed her. And by dawn, the betrayal was complete as they shared a bed promising forever to each other. From that moment on, Gloria's world collapsed. The man she loved turned against her, and everything she built with love started crumbling to dust. 2 days passed in the blink of an eye, and Gloria was left alone in the clinic with no visit from her so-called husband or best friend. The news of her inability to mother a child broke her completely. "Why me?" she whispered over and over. Her heart shattered completely over the pain of barrenness. Money cannot heal. She curled up on her hospital bed, crying softly. The man who was supposed to comfort her was nowhere to be found. On the 3rd day, Joe finally came to discharge her. He was different, with no sympathy towards her. She could feel something was wrong, could feel the distance growing between them. He was cold, like a stranger. With tears in her eyes, she tried to reach for his hand, but he brushed her off, then walked into the car, leaving her to follow in pain. When they arrived at their mansion, the same mansion built on Gloria's suffering, Joe walked inside without even looking back. When Gloria stepped in, she froze. Blessing was sitting in her parlor, wearing her accessories, dining like the queen of the house. "Blessing, what are you doing here?" Gloria whispered. Before she could say more, Joe walked up to Blessing and kissed her. Gloria's mouth dropped open. "What's going on here?" she stammered. "She's the woman after my heart now. The one who will give me the children you couldn't," Joe replied, his voice cold and dripping with venom. Blessing smirked, running her fingers over Joe. "Thanks for the compliment, darling." Gloria gasped. "Blessing, what is he saying?" "You heard him right. I'm the new madam of this house. We're in love, and our marriage has already been scheduled. If you can't cope, move out." Blessing smiled wickedly. Tears streamed down Gloria's face. She tried to reach out to Joe, but Blessing pushed her to the floor. "I want this to be peaceful, but if you don't stay in your lane, you'll face my wrath. Move her things to the tiny room now." She barked orders at the maids. "Babe, show her her place. She's nothing but a barren woman," Joe said, laughing mockingly. Gloria froze. Everything was happening too fast for her to process. All she could do was stare at the people she trusted the most, betraying her without batting an eye. "Let me show you your new room," Blessing said as she dragged Gloria by her hair. When they got to the small room, Blessing shoved Gloria onto the bed. "Why?" Gloria cried weakly. "Why did you do this to me? You were supposed to be my friend." "Friend? I was never your friend, Gloria," Blessing scoffed. "You were too blind to know who your enemies were. I hated you from the day everyone started choosing you over me. You were the good one, the perfect one, while I was the bad egg. Your mother warned you about our friendship, didn't she? That was because she could see the real me. Let's talk about Joe. I saw Joe first. I loved him first. But he picked you over me." Then Blessing leaned close and whispered, "Let me burst your brain. Joe was never infertile." Gloria's eyes widened in shock. "On your wedding day, I gave you an overdose of family planning drugs. That's why you couldn't get pregnant. I manipulated the results. I even destroyed Joe's business. So you would come running to me. Your stupidity to trust a friend cost you everything." Gloria's eyes widened in shock. She felt a sharp pain in her heart. She wanted to talk but couldn't find the right word to say. "That was just the tip of the iceberg," Blessing smirked. Before she could continue, Joe walked in. Blessing quickly switched, acting innocent, cuddling him sweetly. They both walked out, leaving Gloria frozen in disbelief. Gloria screamed. Her heart shattered into a million pieces. Her voice echoed through the mansion. A cry of betrayal, of pain, of regret. Memories of how her mother had warned her flashed across her mind. But her gentle heart that sees only good in every human had led to her doom. She cried until her strength failed her, and collapsed on the floor. Gloria woke up the next morning, lost, weak, and broken. Her eyes were heavy, her heart empty. She had nowhere to go, no family to run to, no friend to lean on. She was all alone in a world that had turned its back on her. She blamed herself for everything. Maybe it was her fault. Maybe if she had told Joe the truth about the results Blessing gave her. Maybe if she had communicated with her husband when it all began. Maybe if she had told him about the eggs she sold to save his business. Maybe, just maybe, her home wouldn't have been destroyed. But regrets came too late. Her story had turned to a lesson every couple should learn from. That communication is key in any relationship or marriage. With the last strength in her body, she decided to fight for the man she loved. She chose to stay, even when her heart was bleeding. She chose to endure the pain, hoping one day he would see the truth. She believed life has a way of exposing the truth. She became a stranger in her own home. Joe mocked her. Blessing insulted her. The maids treated her like trash. She ate leftovers when they remembered her. She slept in tears every night. Her only prayer, God, please let me be a mother. One day, while searching online, she found a ray of hope, a surgery that could restore her tube. It was expensive, but it gave her something she had lost. Hope. She rushed to Joe, trembling as she knelt before him. Her voice broke with tears. Joe, please, help me. I just want to be a mother. That's all I ask. But Joe's face was cold, colder than stone. He looked down at her and laughed. Spend money on a barren woman? Never. And right before her eyes, he brought out that same amount of money and handed it to Blessing. Here, baby, buy yourself something nice, he said with a smile. After all, you gave me what she couldn't. He turned back to Gloria and spat. She gave me a child you couldn't give me in 10 years. And you had the guts to beg me for money, Joe said with a scoffed, get out of my sight, useless woman. You should be grateful I even let you stay here as a maid. At that moment, something inside Gloria shattered. Her heart, her hope, her faith. Her mother's words echoed in her head. You only know a man's true heart when he has money. She wished she had listened. She wished she had worked for her financial freedom when there was still strength in her legs. She regret her actions, if only she could turn back the hands of time. Her story was more than betrayal. It was the kind of heartbreak only seen in old African emotional stories, where greed always destroys peace. Since she had no one, no money, no home, she stayed, enduring the humiliation, enduring the abuse, hoping one day Joe would see the truth, hoping one day she'll get the evidence of Blessing manipulation. But that day never came. After 5 months of humiliation, Gloria finally decided she had endured enough. That day she made her move. She waited until the house was quiet. Her heart pounded as she sneaked quietly into Blessing room, hoping to find proof of all her evil deeds. But just as she began searching, a cold voice echoed behind her. Well, 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 who do we have here? Gloria turned only to see Blessing stood at the door, smiling wickedly. Did you really think I'd be foolish enough to leave evidence for you to find? She said as she walked closer, her eyes dark with pride. Don't bother searching, she said with a smirk. I'll confess everything, with my own mouth. You didn't wonder how I became rich so fast? Well, I stole everything your father left for you. Gloria gasped. What? Oh yes, Blessing sneered. I forged your signature and took every property your father had kept for you. Your mother found out, so I took her out before she could tell you. Gloria's knees went weak. Tears streamed down her face. Blessing, how could you? Blessing laughed coldly. And about your eggs? I sold them to rich clients. The money I gave Joe was just a tiny fraction of what I made off you. Gloria covered her mouth in shock, trembling. But Blessing wasn't done. As for your womb, she whispered, I ordered the doctor to infect you intentionally. You were never barren, Gloria. I made you that way. Gloria's body went numb. Her tears came pouring uncontrollably. This wasn't betrayal. It was evil. Before she could speak, Blessing suddenly fell to the floor, clutching her stomach. Ah, Joe, help me! She screamed dramatically. Joe rushed in, eyes burning with anger. He didn't ask questions. He didn't care to listen. He saw Gloria standing there, and without a word, he pounced on her. He struck her across the face, yelling, You'll never bring harm to my wife again. And that day was the day he threw Gloria out of the house like trash. Gloria felt a bright light, and when she woke up from that accident, she was in a white room. Her body was weak and heavy. The air smelled of antiseptic. Her legs were wrapped in bandages. Where am I? She whispered. A gentle male voice replied, You're safe now. You had an accident, but you're fine. I was the one who found you on the road. She turned slowly. Standing by the window was a man, tall, calm, with eyes full of care and warmth. For the first time in years, someone looked at her with kindness. Gloria broke down in tears. After everything she had endured, A stranger had shown her the love her husband never gave. She didn't know it yet, but the man who saved her life was about to change her destiny forever. Daniel stood quietly, staring at Gloria for a long time, his eyes filled with surprise, confusion, and something unexplainable. Gloria shifted uneasily on the hospital bed, weak but grateful. Her voice trembled as she spoke softly. "Thank you. Thank you for saving my life." Daniel didn't answer immediately. He kept studying her face, every curve, every line, every emotion, until he finally said, "You look so much like my daughters. It's unbelievable." Gloria forced a weak smile. "I wasn't lucky enough to have even one child," she whispered sadly. "Talk less of quadruplets." Daniel smiled gently. "Well, God created people in multiples," he said. "I'm sure they'll love to meet you someday." He looked at her cast and added, "The doctor said you'll be here for a while. You should call your family so they won't get worried." At those words, Gloria broke down completely. Her tears fell freely as she murmured, "I have no one, no family." Daniel's expression softened. He moved closer and placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "Then you can count on me," he said calmly. And he kept his promise. Day after day, Daniel came to the hospital, bringing her food, fresh clothes, and kind words that healed more than medicine could. One afternoon, Gloria smiled faintly and said, "Your wife is a lucky woman." Daniel looked away, his eyes dimming. "She passed away a year ago," he said softly. Gloria's heart sank. Two broken souls, one scarred by betrayal, the other by loss, found comfort in each other's pain. Over time, their hearts began to connect, and when Gloria was finally discharged, Daniel offered her a place to stay, just until she could find her footing. Grateful, Gloria agreed, but when they arrived at Daniel's mansion, the unexpected happened. The door burst open, and 4 little girls ran out, giggling and shouting, "Daddy, Daddy!" Daniel smiled, kneeling to hug them, but the laughter stopped when the children saw Gloria. They froze, their smiles faded, their eyes widened in confusion. It was as if they were looking into a mirror. Gloria's breath caught in her throat. Her heart pounded as tears filled her eyes. "They're so beautiful," she whispered. A deep silence filled the room. Then Daniel's late wife's sister, who lived with them, frowned suddenly. "Wait," she said slowly. "These children were born through an egg donor, and the resemblance is just too much to ignore." Daniel turned to Gloria, his heartbeat racing. "Gloria, maybe we should run a DNA test, just to be sure." Days later, the results came back. Daniel's hands trembled as he held the paper. He looked at Gloria, her eyes filled with fear and fragile hope, then back at the result. She was their biological mother. Gloria gasped, covering her mouth as tears poured uncontrollably. The same eggs blessing stole from her had become the miracle that saved her. She cried, this time not from pain but from divine mercy. For years she had begged God for a child. Now, the very tragedy that broke her had birthed her greatest blessing. Her story was more than the pain of a broken woman. It was an inspirational African folktale about destiny, showing that God never forgets the broken. Daniel knelt beside her and whispered, "You didn't just survive, Gloria. You were reborn." From that moment, everything changed. The girls she thought she'd lost before ever becoming a mother were now her flesh and blood. Her pain had birthed her purpose. The children accepted her with open arms. Laughter filled her days again. Gloria's life slowly began to heal in Daniel's home. Every morning she woke up to the sound of laughter, the laughter of the children she never thought she'd have. She cooked for them, helped them with school, and tucked them in at night. And each day, Daniel watched her with quiet admiration. "You've brought light back into this house," he once told her, smiling. At first, Gloria thought he was just being kind, but over time, she realized Daniel's heart was genuine, nothing like the man who once broke hers. Their bond grew stronger with every sunrise. They prayed together, worked together, laughed together, and in Daniel's calm presence, Gloria rediscovered herself, not as the woman who lost everything, but as the woman who rose from the ashes. Love found her when she had stopped searching for it. And soon Daniel proposed, choosing love over pity. Gloria finally lived the life she once only dreamed of. Proof that no pain is wasted and no evil goes unpunished. Her story is a powerful story of second chance, that no matter how broken you are, God can still show up for you. While Gloria's life blossomed again, Joe and Blessing world began to crumble, slowly, painfully. It all started with their grand wedding. Joe spared no expense, determined to prove to the world that he had finally found his queen, a woman who could give him children. It wasn't just a wedding, it was a public declaration that he was not barren. But pride always comes before a fall. Within months, the money dried up. And Blessing, the woman who once acted perfect, began to show her true colors. She wasn't romantic. She couldn't keep the home together. She was obsessed with parties, luxury, and attention. Their love turned into daily arguments, and Joe began to see her for what she truly was, a greedy, heartless woman. Still, the real storm was yet to come. One evening, Joe walked into the sitting room and overheard Blessing on a phone call. Her laughter was loud, cold, and cruel. Can you imagine? I made him infertile myself. I've been giving him drugs. His hormones are gone. He can't father a child anymore. That fool thought Gloria was barren, not knowing I was the one behind everything. This was his punishment for choosing Gloria over me. I made them both barren for 10 years. And this child I'm carrying isn't even his. Funny enough, he'll never know the truth. The phone Joe was holding slipped from his hand. His heart stopped. His body trembled. You did what? He roared. He stormed into the room, his eyes burning with fury. You ruined my life for greed. You destroyed everything I ever had. Blessing's eyes widened in shock as she realized no secret stays hidden forever. She struggled to break free, but in the fight, she slipped and fell hard. She screamed, clutching her stomach. Moments later, she lost the baby. Days later, she pressed charges. And though Joe tried to explain what really happened, no one believed him. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison. Blessing thought she had finally won, but karma had only just begun. Not long after, she began to feel sharp pains in her stomach. One morning, she woke up bleeding heavily. Doctors told her the damage from the fall had destroyed her womb completely. She would never be a mother again. Blessing broke down in tears. She had fallen into the very pit she dug for an innocent woman. She realized what you sow is what you will reap. Her story had turned to story of greed and consequence. When she thought life couldn't get any worse, it did. Her mansion was robbed. Her boutique caught fire. Her remaining properties vanished in endless legal battles over unpaid debts. Everything she once flaunted was gone, just like that. The tears of the woman she once mocked had finally spoken. Now broke, barren, and alone, she roamed the same streets she once looked down on, begging for food. Months later, at a charity event, she saw Gloria. Gloria stepped out of a sleek car, radiant, peaceful, and glowing. Daniel by her side, the quadruplets laughing around them. Blessing's knees gave way. She fell to the ground, tears streaming down her face. Gloria, please forgive me, she whispered. But Gloria didn't even see her. She was surrounded by love, peace, and joy, too far above the pain of her past. That day, Blessing finally understood. The woman she once mocked for being barren had become blessed beyond imagination. She tried to rebuild, but no one wanted to help. And one cold night, Blessing died on the streets, bitter, forgotten, and alone. 5 years later, Joe was released from prison, broken, empty, and lost. He had nothing left, no home, no one waiting. As he stood by the prison gate, unsure where to go, he noticed a large crowd gathered across the street for a public seminar. Curious, he walked closer and froze. Standing at the podium was Gloria. She looked radiant and happy. Her voice carried peace and confidence. She spoke passionately. In every marriage, communication is the bridge that keeps love alive. When that bridge breaks, the devil finds his way in. Protect your home, because sometimes the friend you trust the most could be the devil in disguise. Tears rolled down Joe's cheeks. He knew he had lost the rarest gem, a woman who gave everything for him. After the seminar, he rushed to her, falling to his knees. Gloria, please, forgive me. I'm sorry for all I did. It was the devil that caused it. Gloria smiled gently and said, No, Joe, it wasn't the devil. You changed the moment you became rich. You stopped listening. You stopped caring. You didn't remember how humble beginning. And when I begged you to help me with my surgery to become a mother, you kicked me out and called me a useless barren woman. She sighed softly, her eyes calm. But I've left everything to God. And yes, I forgive you, because my life today is my testimony. Just then, Daniel walked in with the quadruplets and a baby boy in his arms, the child Gloria had after her surgery. The children ran to her, laughing. Gloria held them close, her smile full of peace. Joe watched, broken as she turned and walked away, surrounded by the love and family he once despised. That was the day Joe realized he didn't just lose a wife, he lost everything. Joe finally realized that true love is meant to endure, for better or worse, through sunshine and storm. He learned too late that when pride enters a home, love begins to die. And no matter how rich you become, never forget the bridge that carried you through your struggles. As Gloria walked away with her family, smiling, peaceful, and free, she whispered softly, Sometimes unanswered prayers are God's greatest protection. Because if God had answered every cry she once made, she might still be trapped in the arms of the man who broke her. She learned that not everyone who smiles at you is a friend. Some are silent enemies wearing kind faces. That's why your first confidant should always be God. Not everyone will celebrate your light. Some will try to dim it. So, learn to protect your secrets, your peace, and your dreams. Gloria looked at her children and thanked God deeply for turning her pain into purpose, her tears into testimony, and her shame into shining glory. Because what was meant to destroy her became the reason she found her destiny. Moral lessons. Never let pride or wealth destroy the love that once held you together. Learn to communicate and trust your partner. Silence can break what love built. Not everyone deserves your secret or your trust. And when life breaks you, don't give up, because sometimes pain is just God's way of preparing your miracle. Once again, thank you for tuning in to African Folktale by Fahbam, home of powerful African stories filled with wisdom and moral lessons. Don't forget to like, share, and comment on the lessons you've learned from this story. Special shout out to our top audience, USA, Jamaica, and South Africa. Your love and support inspire us every day. Stay tuned for more emotional folktales that heal the heart, teach the soul, and remind us that in every pain, there's a purpose waiting to be born.